So a lot of people will say this is the close, right? And the reason that we use it as the close part, and I often say this, and write this down for those that are joining us electronically, write this down. It's never how you close, it's always how you open, right? If you open good, the closing of it becomes kind of a foregone conclusion. If you do everything right, then the close becomes easy. And this is the first opportunity we're going to have. We call it fulfillment. You can call it whatever you want, right? A lot of people use the word closing. But I want you to think of it in terms of a normal process. We are at the point in process where it does this. So if you think of closing, right? Like, for example, there was a book. It was written in the 60s. This person happened to be an insurance agent. 101 closes. Right? They actually wrote a book because at the time in the 60s, there were lots of different closes. They each had a different name. Like, for example, you would go to the auto dealership, and the auto dealership would say, well, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, it's okay with me if you don't buy it today, but the price goes up tomorrow. Right? That's what's called the impending event close. That's an actual name for what these 101 closes. Now, that would never work today. Why? Because you can hit one button and learn all the information about everything you need. The buyers today are much more sophisticated than the buyers of 20 or 30 years ago. That's why closes don't work anymore, right? Because we know, and we've been so inbred with the idea that most of them aren't true, aren't legitimate, aren't real. But we need to have a point in our selling process where we do need to close, right? Because one of the things most salespeople do is they never ask for the close. They're perpetually selling and never saying, okay, I'm done. Yes or no, right? And there reaches a point where you've told them everything. I'm not a smart guy. We get there really fast because I don't know a lot, right? So we get to the point where I don't know anymore. It's like, okay, we're done. This is where we say yes or no. Now, depending on what is appropriate and whatever your business is, that may vary. But your fulfillment, the point where you get to the close. So this is what it sounds like, right? So keep in mind, I've done all of this. I've gone through all these processes. We talked about money and decision and who the players are. We've done all. We set clear expectations. We know we're going to say yes or no at the end. So now I'm going to sit down with that person because I believe that professional selling is still that face-to-face, eye-to-eye business, right? So now we're sitting down. Okay, so Molly and I have spoken on the phone a couple of times. We've agreed. She's told me what her issues were. I've shared with her what I need to take from the meeting. We've had a compelling conversation about money, the players, all the things we needed to do up to this point in time are all been done. So I'm going to make a giant step and say, that's all done. We did it all right. So now we're meeting face to face, and I'd say, Molly, when we talked on the phone, you said that you were concerned about the black marker, the red marker, and the blue marker. Is that still the case? Right? Because I want to first get started on the idea that things haven't changed, right? Because now in the world of coronavirus, every day is something new, right? My wife sends me 10, here's the things that are closed today, right? Here's all the traumas going on in the world, right? But I would say, Molly, you were kind enough to invite me in, right? You always got to be invited in. On the phone, you said you were concerned about the black marker, the blue marker, and the red marker. Is that still the case? All right? So I said, is everything still the same? I reiterated what we talked about on the phone relative to the red marker. Now, this is the first time she's ever going to see my solution to the red marker. And here's what I say. Molly, we've been thinking about this, and this is our solution to the problem. All right? So this is the red marker problem, and this is the first time Molly is hearing my solution to the problem. Right? So now, and I explain how we're going to solve the problem with the red marker. So the only close that I ever want you to use is one called the thermometer close. If you've used it, it's easy. Right? And now I say, Molly, let me take your temperature because I want to make sure you feel comfortable. This is a solution. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you feel that we can solve the problem with the red marker? Normally, most people say 7 or 8. It's just the standard. Right? So she's going to say, well, I feel about an 8. And I'd say, thank you for sharing. Always thank you for sharing, right? Thank you for sharing that with me. What would you have to see or hear to feel comfortable moving to 10? But it also tells her that we're going to 10. It also tells her that we're going to solve that problem, whatever that problem is. You get to insert your problem here. And she says, Don, would you tell me more about the cap? Can you tell me more about the red cap? And I say, thank you for that. I'd be more than happy to. And this is now my continuing explanation about the red cap. Right? And I want you to see this because I use this all the time, and it works incredibly.